cleaning out the rooms. What if you didn't lose your memory? What if something in Martinez came and stored it all away, for you to slowly open one box at a time, so you can choose which parts to keep? Keep almost none of it. Only the flowers on the windowsill, only the distant sound of a radio. Lose all the actors, the dark shadows, leave only the still lifes, the blissful distant wash of waves. If everybody knew, you never did, she'll be coming soon. That is all. The bed is comforting, if a bit run down. Still, you've earned a rest. The place feels almost like home now, quiet and dignified around you. A new life by the seaside. You're incredibly tired. The darkness and warmth come fast. You're falling asleep.
It's easier this time. Drifting off, your head has found a comfortable indent in the pillow. Your legs and your torso feel like lead weights sinking to the bottom of the sea, until they're suddenly light.
This respite, you've earned it, brother. Bask in the darkness. Let it swallow you up and swivel you around while you forget everything you've managed to remember. No, this is the one before that. We'll just keep cycling it for you if you don't mind. As long as we can. Spin it like black yarn.
Enjoy it while it lasts.
You're welcome, Harry boy. You earned it.
After centuries of darkness, the alarm rings. But what's this? You actually feel rested. There's no time to cuddle with your pillow, however, or as much as shiver from the cold. The world awaits.
Go.
Yes? This isn't just glass. These are old computation components. Yes, filament memories. From the time when wires were cast in glass, slides with an inlaid nervous system. The how was a closely guarded secret.
Something that was locked in safes in human heads across the river where they were manufactured. As to why, your fingers don't know.
So it is. I think it is used to form a single system, slotted in the wall. The rest of the building seems to have been picked clean. These? No. These are old filament memories. I hope you're not expecting to find that device here. You will be disappointed.
All you will find here is pain. A mustachioed and mutton-chopped man, amateurishly depicted, gazes at you with sad eyes. A plaque reads, K. Mazov. There is a spiderweb in the lower left corner of the portrait. Years' worth of dust is shaken off. The full head of hair, matched by an ample moustache and sideburns, look a bit silly.
Yes. Looks like some latter-day radicals were hiding out here. They left a long time ago. Half a century? This was probably part of the network of defense posts the communards built against the amphibious landing. I think the purpose of this bunker was to produce propaganda. It would have had radio equipment back then, but that's all been looted. We have found a lot of those lately. I guess what most people think of as history tends to linger in rundown neighborhoods. Martinez being what it is, no one has gone through the trouble of cleaning out the old bunkers.
Good hiding place for someone who's up to no good.
I won't stand in your way, but only after we're through with this case. Millions of depictions of Mazov have been produced. They're not all connected. Besides, that looked like some student. The youths always go for this kind of stuff. You mean like Ruby? No, I think we've stumbled on a piece of history.
There it is again, like a swarm of hornets buzzing under your scalp. A strange tingling you can almost smell.
No, what do you mean? I don't feel it, but we should still be careful. There were footprints back there, and I'm pretty sure they were fresh. No, but you are the sensitive one.
It's not a quib. The situation is dangerous.
Looks like our suspect. If she's in here, we need to plan our next step carefully. Once we detain a credible suspect, who knows what the Union and the Wild Pines will do? We'll set in motion events we have no control over.
You will upset the balance of power in Martinez. The deadlock between the company and the Union will destabilize. This part of town is a fine clockwork puzzle. Disturb its peace, and it will start breaking down uncontrollably. Keep calm. Go over the whole situation in detail.
Well, we are not responsible for what we can't predict, are we? I don't think the entire city will be razed to the ground.
If you can't predict it, there's nothing you could have done.
I think I see a cavern. Maybe more cellars? I think we've been careful enough. We still have the element of surprise.
I wouldn't be so sure. You haven't exactly been sneaking.
Or maybe not. Either way, once we go deeper, there will be no turning back.
Suddenly, your entire body is paralyzed. Aggressive white noise fills your skull. A strange pain, like you've never felt before. Through the static, you hear a woman's voice. It's like 1,000 radio stations are being blasted into your head all at once. But her words are the only ones you can make out.
I know you're feeling pretty uncomfortable right now. Don't move too much or fight it. That'll just make it worse. Can't say it's a pleasure, officer. I was really hoping not to make your acquaintance. But here we are.
The voice coming through the whirlwind of pain is not malicious. She doesn't want to hurt you, but she has to. Doesn't wish to hurt you, not according to your ear canals. Wait, no, not even your ear canals. This is going directly into your neural pathways. No, buddy, that's not going to help. You can't shield yourself from this. It's an entirely new type of experience, way worse than all the previous ones. Don't focus on the pain. Focus on doing your job. Tell her she's under arrest.
Really now? Check this out.
You're overwhelmed with a new surge of violent static. It feels like a blood vessel exploded in your brain.
No, I'm not going to fucking kill you. If that had been my plan, you'd be dead already. All things considered, I'm being pretty reasonable here. I'm using a pale latitude compressor. You and your partner have been caught in its field.
The explosion of static you're hearing is the ULAN frequency, blasted from that pale emitter that Angus mentioned.
Saw my equations? You've been sniffing through my lorry, right? I expected as much. I am a bit surprised you knew what you were looking at. latitude compressor is used to sort of make the Pale more manageable. With a lot of these, you can force a radio signal grid on the Pale, literally crunch the distance across it. Signals are relayed across a series of repeater stations fixed to buoys. Not a fun job manning those stations. All alone out there in the Pale, people lose their minds in just a few years.
Sounds like she knew someone who used to man one of those stations. But she won't tell you about her. Boy, you're one empathetic police officer to have guessed even that right now.
So, what we are experiencing is a concentration of radio waves.
Precisely. This is an industrial strength paraboloid. It's meant for forcing dimensions on something that doesn't have them. Needless to say, the frequencies used are out of this world. At the upper limit is the large prime number generator station. It's used specifically for Pale latitude compression. That's why you may be hearing some numbers. But you might also hear, or think you're hearing, local radio chatter.
She's been holed up in here for a while with no one to talk to. Keep her talking, and you just might get an opportunity to break loose.
Yeah, I stuck my head in there before using it on you. It seemed like the ethical thing to do. Can't say that I enjoyed it. The field was weaker, but I can imagine what you're going through. No, once I shut down the compressor, the pain will end. It may take a few minutes for you to steady yourself, though. It's a bit like waking out of a very confusing dream. I built it myself.
And she's proud of it too, as she ought to be. This is way beyond your abilities.
That's illegal. I'm guessing it's patented. But we are beyond that, aren't we?
Oh yeah, way beyond. Yeah, let's not talk about that shit. You were hunting me and fell into my trap instead. That's all there is to say about it.
So she thinks of you as hunters, not the cops, and of herself merely as prey.
If you've got something really important to say, you can do it through the white noise. God damn it. Fine. If you really want to talk, I can dial it down. I've also got a gun, by the way.
The gun she's carrying is a two-barreled front loader, not like the murder weapon. Well, it doesn't feel much better, but you can form sentences now. Thinking doesn't seem to hurt as much. Just keep her talking, and you'll get through this.
No, I didn't do it. I only helped stage the lynching, though I doubt that makes much of a difference to you. Who ratted me out, by the way? Was it Titus? No, he wouldn't have broken first. Oh, I knew the kitten had claws, but not like this. But she couldn't have known I was on the coast. How did you find me?
Titus and his boys, man. They told us you were on the coast.
Even now, Kim is a paragon of professionalism. He is trying to make a clean cut of telling her she was betrayed.
Well, fuck. Those guys liked me, I know it. If this is what happens to people whom people like...
A dull despair is creeping into her voice.
How the fuck did the rest of you get by? I did, didn't I? Now you've come for me. Fuck them all the same.
That did make her forgive them. A little.
Like what? I already told you I didn't do it.
A strong moral compass. She still wants the opportunity to make a case for herself.
Man, I was with the boys the whole night. I hope they at least bothered to impress that upon me. Yeah, and I'm sure they also made some funny remarks about it. They always do. I've driven a lot of long haul and chugged a lot of beer, man. Can't do either without some power of mind over bladder. And anyway, that wouldn't have been enough time. Wow, now I'm curious. Please, explain. No, not since I was 14 and hanging out in the only diner in Dardun. Haven't been into low-risk, no-reward games since moving to the city. Why? Don't know it, but also...
Evaluating your competence as a police officer.
The shot couldn't have come from the roof, or we would have all heard it downstairs.
She has a point there. No one mentioned.
That didn't go super well. You've got to lay something better on her.
And? Sure don't.
A breach loader?
No.
This is such a wipeout.
No, they're not practical. Break too often. The gun store. Trigger Happy Jacks. What did you think? That I'm going to squeal on my gun supplier? Sorry, I'm not that kind of gal. A knocked-away 80 front loader. Two-barreled. Not really what you were looking for, I'm guessing.
That isn't it.
Yeah, evidence. I considered her a good friend, yeah. What the hell, man? Yeah, why not? I've gotten worse.
Her hand slipped from the dial of the compressor for a moment, almost turning it down. Then she put her hand back. Not yet. Not yet.
Wow. Pissing, pinball, and now peeping. I'm just not following your insinuations, Detective. Look, I'm not aware of any hole in Claudia's wall. And if I had been, I would have told her to get it sealed. That's what friends do. Nope. Look, she has an effect on people. Or had, before you sent her off in your moral lantern meat grinder. It's impossible not to look at her when she walks into the room, and very difficult to look away. But travel enough and you realize... For the same reason that she's everyone's type as an object of desire, she's not irreplaceable. Oh, so that's where you were going with this. That's a very sentimental way of putting it. We both had pasts who didn't want to catch up with us, and we enjoyed listening to music together. Why not go on a road trip?
The lieutenant watches her expectantly, occasionally shaking from the pain.
Okay, fine. I was into her. Claudia was into me too for a time, I know it. We even fooled around once. And yeah, after that I thought maybe we could make a go of it. She rejected me with some wishy-washy bullshit about how she was confused because she felt so close to me and valued my friendship so much, and how guilty she felt for leading me on. I knew that wasn't the whole story, but thought, fine, I'll take it and move on.
No ill will there. It wasn't a problem for her.
Yeah, one time when we'd both been drinking, I said some heated things about how dangerous her patterns with men were. I was a little worried she'd blow it out of proportion in her head. All the drugs she was doing can make you feel like you're living in a DeLorean tragedy. Yeah, The girl seemed terrified. The merc was beyond caring what happened to his mortal coil. It was a no-brainer. Go ahead. It's your body.
And mine too, he thinks. But keep on. This must be done.
No. Gifts of flowers and candy aren't really my style. No, I did not. So, Heart of Gold Tommy fucked me over too. Never trust a musician.
That really comes as a blow to her.
Okay, great. You got into my lorry on your own. What now? You're going to arrest me for drug trafficking?
Beneath it, she's relieved Tommy didn't betray her.
That's your prerogative. Man, it's to get away from all that murderous shit that I left Jamrock, my previous employer, for the Union.
She deliberately avoided naming the mob she worked for. You might be able to find this out later.
I got lucky being a dispatcher. Never had to do any of the really dirty work myself. This gun has only been used for self-defense against serious scum. Based on what I've heard about you, you are serious scum. Yeah?
More questions before doing anything.
I heard you in the passages, and I've been preparing for quite a while. So you found my shack, huh? I'm not...
Her tone is bitter. She thinks she's been betrayed.
So nice. That's one knife I didn't want to find to my back.
As opposed to the other knives she's finding there now. Hardy for one.
Not anymore, no. This could have turned out pretty bad for me if you hadn't walked right into 25 bands of ultra-high frequencies.
That's her admitting the bullet was an emergency exit. It was dark in the shack. The waves outside had calmed down. She looked at the loaded gun. Then she cracked the barrel open and took the bullet out. Not today.
How should I know? As I keep saying, he already had a bullet in his head when I got to him, and there hasn't been any useful gossip over the radio.
Those rings around her eyes, her tired voice. She's been staying up late, listening in on the conversations crisscrossing Martinez.
Police radio? You've been following the case?
Who hasn't? You know, I can still see him there, in Clausia's room, lying on his side. He was still warm, but the bluish light coming through the broken window made him look as though he'd been dead for a good long while. I saw you roll into town. I wasn't about to stick around for questioning by a goddamn La Puta Madre agent.
So this is what she was scared to tell Titus. This cop.
Yes, you. Everyone says you're his peon, his human can opener.
Through the sudden sharp pain in your head, you hear the lieutenant mumble something to himself. Fucking hell. And why me? You hear through the white noise. It's especially bad suddenly. Felt like a vein exploded.
Everyone in Jamrock, the cops, the criminals, why do you think I'm holed up in here with a goddamn death ray waiting for you?
If she knows that about you, she must know your real name too.
Harry Dubois. One corrupt motherfucker with the disco pants and a funny tie. Agent to La Puta Madre.
Did someone mention a fucked up tie? I call bullshit! You're too crazy to be corrupt!
So she knows your name. That doesn't mean you're on the tape. Criminals make up bogeyman stories about cops all the time.
Is that a joke or a threat? I'm guessing both. Yeah, sure.
She doesn't believe you.
I'm sure La Puta Madre himself will explain it all to you soon enough. You've been to my lorry. You think the biggest player in Jamrock appreciates competition? And now I have Harry Can Opener in my lair. Fucking Titus.
She's not going to change her mind that easily. She still perceives you as a threat. Wait, one thing. Possibly small, but she said you rolled into town. Was that you singular or plural? She might know something.
Yeah, you had your death squad with you. What happened to them anyway? Sure you do. I bet they're just outside waiting. I guess I'll take my chances. Well, it wasn't this scrawny dude. You had two guys and a lady. The guys looked pretty buff. Lady wasn't bad either. One of the guys seemed chipper, a blonde. The other had a brooding something or other about him. And the woman was the only one in uniform. All were carrying. That sound about right?
Satellite Officer Vic Mayer looks out of the window grimly, then puts his coffee down and turns to Patrol Officer Minnow. We can either take a room here in the Whirling or go home for today. Let's go home, Jean. Nothing's going to happen today, she responds quietly. Jean takes his blonde wig off. Call Heidelstam. He can give us a ride.
Well, this has been a great talk, really. But I think I'm going to hit the road now.
She means it. You better make your move soon. She eyes you warily, as though gauging your sincerity.
It's okay. We just want to...
All right, don't kill yourself over it. I was shooting the shit with Hardy and the boys over a few beers, like always. Then Klasha comes in, all pale and shuddering. She sits down with a drink, trying to steady her nerves. So I grab a seat next to her. She asked me to come upstairs. The merc she'd been going with was lying on the bedroom floor, dead. I knew she couldn't get the authorities involved, so yeah.
You made it look like he'd been hanged.
What? No. Faking a lynching was her idea. Yeah, in cold blood. It really surprised me how quickly she was able to get a hold of herself once we got up there. It was like she was another person. The party girl was gone. She asked me to help her drag him into the shower so she could wind the shower head around his neck to fake lividity. Then she dressed him while I went to get the Hardy Boys.
Claudia knew exactly what she was doing. You can't remain calm under pressure otherwise.
Yeah, I wasn't sure whether to admire her or be disturbed. As I keep telling you cops, we didn't hear anything downstairs. No gunshot, nothing.
But even if this is true, weren't you worried the lynching might lead to...
War? The thought crossed my mind. But the mercenary's death was going to have repercussions either way. Although the way things are going... fuck it. I'm not responsible for these people after what they did to me. What bunker? Don't know anything about it. No one's been around since I set up camp. But I'm sure I'm not the first vagabond to...
Keep calm. Breathe in. of the pain recedes is a little clearer. You did it. The compressor lies broken on its side. It's quiet in your head again. It still hurts like hell, but...
All good, officer. Be careful.
She looks at the machine, assessing the damage. Her hand trembles.
Oh, fuck it. Problem solving.
Ma'am, put the gun down. That's not the solution to your problems. You are...
Oh, yes, it is.
She's truly desperate. She thinks she has no other options. You need to give her options. You know. She stares at you, frozen, the gun still in her mouth, eyes filled with dark intensity. Then something shifts in her. Gratitude, doubt. She's still ready to go. Her neck and shoulders relax, and her grip on the gun loosens. She runs past you, then past the lieutenant, and disappears into the darkness of the tunnel.
Good call. Yeah, I'm sure. I would have done the same had I not been incapacitated. I have a feeling we didn't. Her tent. We should check it out.
The plain red tent stands by dispassionately. It was pitched by practiced hands. She's used to camping out. The tent looks old, but well maintained. In the darkness of the tent, a rolled up sleeping bag, cooking utensils, some books, and a kerosene lamp. It reeks of cigarettes. Assorted soft covers, mostly pulp horror. A motor carriage lies buried in the snow on one cover. On another, a ghost airship. You also see a collection of radio enthusiast magazines.
See anything?
Rager Monthly, Journal of Material Science. More Technological Digest. One of the magazines doesn't have images on the cover. It's not a magazine, it's a leather notebook. You pocket the worn brown leather journal. A trusted friend left behind.
We should read this immediately, like right now.
A thick journal. The cover is worn like someone used to carry it around in their back pocket. It's made of full-grain leather. The lower left corner of the back cover sports an embossed brand name, Schneller. This was important to her when it was still hers. The journal falls open. About 2/3 of its ruled pages have been filled. The large cursive of someone who writes quickly and confidently. Perhaps too confidently. Many phrases and even paragraphs have been crossed out, with tiny corrections scrawled above and in the margins. It's a mix of logistical notes, diagrams, and personal reflections, all dated.
It's good she left in a hurry. We could learn a lot from this.
Hard to tell exactly. It's mostly noted down in code. Looks like contact information, quantities, directions.
There could be useful information about local operations in those notes. We have a junior sergeant at my station who's good with codes. I can give
esoteric radio technology. The most recent ones probably pertain to the latitude compressor, sketches, calculations of distance and density. You make out a familiar spiral shape. Short, wry observations of people and places, probably a way to pass the time on the road. Also, what appears to be attempts to sort through some difficult decisions. There are a few passages with many questions in them. The way some of those question marks trail off into ellipsis, she was going through a tough time. Staff issues, always tough on the leadership. The first entry is from August 2nd of last year. It reads simply, I know my position is precarious. All I can do is make myself as useful as I can while looking for a way out. Remember, no one is indispensable. Nothing on March 4th. March 5th, though, well, that's bound to come back and bite me in the ass. I'm bad at this. Loyal to a fault. But that's another matter entirely. You have no idea what she means. These are personal notes. That name isn't mentioned as far as you can tell.
What about this M? Could this be La Puta Madre? Here, March 9th and March 15th.
Great. M's peon is coming to town, no doubt to investigate the lynching. But also, I feel it in my gut to finally put a bullet in my head while I'm napping in my lorry or on a smoke break. Well, I won't stick around just to twist my own neck by constantly looking over my shoulder. Then again, isn't that what I've been doing ever since I got the call?
The call? Did M call her personally? Were you supposed to find her, even apart from the investigation then? On M's request? No, you wouldn't do something like this. This must be a mistake. Whatever you may look like, you don't feel like a hired assassin.
Been holed up here for 3 days now. I'm used to being alone and all, but I don't know when I'll be able to leave, or if I'll be ratted out. They will rat me out, of course. I've made it a point to believe in the best in people, the boys, for example. But experience tells me, did M feel truly betrayed by me? I was feeling threatened. He'd have to know if he threatened people, they'd take measures to protect themselves. Even I know that. Economic measures, first of all. Gotta make a living, right? I can still hear his voice in the receiver. Taste the plastic. The entry ends abruptly. The most recent entry is from today. It reads, even when I leave here, if I leave here alive, what's my next move? Staging a lynching is a crime, even if I'm not accused of murder on top of that. Forever on the run. Not really my idea of the open road. Man, I was really looking forward to winning.
It looks like she might have been framed?
That would be a first, or a fourth. But who's counting, he thinks. Very rarely does anyone actually get framed.
I wouldn't go so far as to say that. We have other reasons to arrest her. Besides, I'm not sure her life as a fugitive is going to be much better than we does. Especially if she has problems with the Madre. No, I don't think you are. Ask someone in your precinct if you want to be sure.
His trust is well placed. You aren't. You can feel it.
Classy was the one who pointed the finger at Ruby. Perhaps she was trying to steer us away from herself, or... maybe she had an accomplice. Either way, We should go back to the Whirling, see if we can find out more about her time there. One thing is for certain. We have business back in the Whirling and Rags. Questions to ask. We should get to it.